welcome Rangers fans to what is an unusual virtual football banquet. As we all know, 2020 was an unusual year, and our season, of course, was a little bit different than any other. So because of COVID and the district's reluctance perhaps to let us gather in large numbers like we normally would for a football banquet in January of 500, 600, 700 people, we're going to try to make this as special as we can for our players and community by having a virtual banquet. So I want to start by thanking our fans for sticking with us this year. You know, there was a time last summer when I think we all were questioning, are we going to be able to have this season or not? And then it looked like we would. Would we be able to finish it, which was our team's motto for the year was finish. And you know, we had a couple of games postponed, but we're able to make them up. We went with one less regular season game, but did play 9 regular season games. And, of course, qualified for the playoffs again with a couple of big emotional wins, won the bi-district game, and right before Christmas our season ended with a second-round playoff loss. So, you know, a kind of a trying season, one where we had to kind of fly by the seat of our pants and be ready to adjust. Flexibility was a must, but it was a tremendous season, tremendous group of young men, and you know, we are proud of this 2020 football team, and we're here today to honor them. And you know, a lot of good times, but and a great season, but those things don't happen by accident. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes people that have to make that go. Our principal, Michael Wall, and his the leadership that he shows our campus, our athletic director, Leanna Tyler, and the athletic department leadership that she gives to us and the support she gives. And, of course, at the top, Andrew Kim, our superintendent, who's been so super supportive of our program. So, you know, we thank them and thank them for doing the things behind the scenes they had to do to make 2020 a reality. And then, of course, our community. You know, we have great community support, always have, and that continues to be a strength for our program. Our fans stuck with us. You know, limited seating and watching games live or on tape delay on the Rangers network. You know, just doing all the things they could to stand behind our players through what was a long and tumultuous season. And then, of course, the ones that go unnoticed, perhaps even the most, are our assistant coaches. You know, oftentimes when you have good years like we have had and just had, certain players are featured a great deal with publicity, and deservedly so. And the team's accomplishments are trumpeted in the press and on social media and whatnot. But or the head coach gets interviewed, or those kinds of things. That's pretty normal. But behind the scenes, our assistant coaches, you know, are the backbone of our program. Many of them have been here a long time. Some are relatively new, but together they formed as talented and as good a coaching staff if I've ever been associated with. And our players know and recognize that, and certainly our head coach knows. So I'd like to start this banquet just by recognizing them individually. And I want to start with our athletic secretary here at Smithson Valley. Donna Moore has been here with us now, I think, four maybe 5 years. And you know, she's kind of the mama ranger of the program. She keeps it all going forward, and our players and coaches greatly appreciate Donna and her contributions to our program. Of course, my wife, Lori Hill, you know, behind the scenes supporting me for all these years at Smithson Valley, and for obvious reasons, I'm extremely grateful for her. Our 2 trainers, Brian Zettler and Rodney Murray, for keeping our players healthy or trying to get them healthy in rehab and getting them back on the field. You know, again, unrecognized often contributions that they give, but, you know, we want to recognize those. Working with our offensive line now for finishing his 32nd year at Smithson Valley is Robert Touton, continues to be a stalwart on our staff. Doug Ulbrich, who coaches our safeties, he finished his 27th year here at Smithson Valley. Our defensive coordinator, Craig Westifer, finishing his 29th year here at Smithson Valley, coaches our linebackers as well as coordinating our defense. Bryn Jones, completing his 2nd year here, moved and coached our wide receivers this year and did an outstanding job, really furthered our cause there. Chad Haug, now in his 3rd year of his 2nd stint at Smithson Valley, coaches our defensive ends. Eshawn Risen, finishing his 3rd year. Eshawn coaches our defensive tackles, did a tremendous job with those young men this year. Lane Bowman, longtime Smithson Valley coach, coaches our cornerbacks. and also works with our punter. And Josh Samora. Josh coaches our running backs and did an outstanding job with those men this year. Jeff Shin, former player here, and of course has come back and become our offensive coordinator, also coaches our tight ends and fullbacks. Outstanding job there. And Glenn Hill coaches our quarterbacks and also works with our place kickers and did a tremendous job this year. Working with our sub-varsity teams, our JV and our freshman teams, the future of our program. We have a staff that coaches those guys along with our varsity coaches and gets them ready for when their time comes. And we had some outstanding years on the JV and freshmen, and no small part due to the contributions of these guys. Coach Chad Kell and Coach Russell Dagey, Coach Tony Trevino, Coach James Cook, Coach Brian Westerfer. Outstanding coaches in their own right, and a big part of what our program has become. So I'd like to thank these men and ladies for standing behind the scenes and doing the things that help a successful program sustain itself year after year. Thank you all. I'd like to next talk about our sub-varsity teams this year. Obviously, most of this banquet is dedicated to the varsity team and their accomplishments, but these are the next round of players, the ones that Ranger fans will come to know in the very near future. Our freshmen had a tremendous year, and I'd like to start by recognizing our parent reps for the freshman team. Amy Lopez and Chrissy Camacho took on that role and did a fabulous job of putting information out to our parents, being a communicative tool between the parents and the coaches and the program, and did a fabulous job of that. And of course, our freshman teams had outstanding years. I think one of our blue team was 8-1, our white team was 7-1. We didn't get 10 game schedules with any team this year because of COVID, but both were district champions. And pulled out a bunch of close games, but just and it was in large part to the ability of our players, the parents who stand behind them, the coaches who work with them, and so we're very impressed with what they showed us this year. We're obviously very excited at what they can do for us down the road, and we greatly appreciate our two freshman teams of 2020. Our JV team also had an excellent year. Kimberly Garrett and Kim Birch were our parent reps there, and again, like we mentioned earlier with our freshman reps, did a tremendous job of keeping our parents in the loop and keeping things moving forward in a very difficult year. Games being rescheduled, games canceled, new opponent, new site, new game time, the things that happen almost on a weekly basis, and so we greatly appreciate their contributions. Our JV had an excellent year. And quite a number of sophomores on the varsity this year, more so than usual, which could potentially kind of cripple the JV team, which is normally composed of those guys. But they didn't let that affect them. Our blue team had a 6-3 record, competed very, very well. Our white team was 3-2, had a couple of games canceled because of COVID. And didn't get to play a full schedule, but the other thing that, of course, goes with the JV is the varsity's here, they're here. Varsity's practicing, they're practicing. They're going against the varsity, so they're going up against one of the top teams in Texas, as well as having their own season. So, their time is coming. They're ready to take that next step, and we're proud of what they accomplished this year, and we look forward to watching them in the year or years to come. JV team, congratulations. Anybody that's familiar with a big football program, all the operations that goes with that, knows that a lot of things go on behind the scenes. And one of those things is the work of our student trainers and our students who film practices for us. And these are two groups of committed students who do things that often go unrecognized by the outside world, but are certainly recognized by the players and coaches and the folks on the inside of the program. And we place great value on what they do, and I'd like to introduce you to some of these young men and women at this time. Let's start with our student trainers, starting with our first-year students. We have Michaela Dillman, Mariah Devins, and Jade Rodriguez, Sky Falkenberg, and Presley Smith. These are first-year student trainers who have a great future with us down the road. Our sophomores, Kenzie Armstrong, Torin Tiller, and Sarah Frazier. Okay. Now, our returning student trainers, who are returning from a year ago, their second and third and even fourth year in the program. Sophomores were Holly Waltman, Reagan Bolt, Layla Medina, Colleen Phillips, Kara McCrae, Blanton Sawyer, Kylie Hammond, Kylie West, and Sebastian Baeza. Those are our sophomores. Got 2 more years with us, and we'll be the better because of it. Our juniors, Anna V. Ramos, Hannah Wilson, and Zoe Barong, and also Brianna Taylor. She's a great student. She is a junior, but she's actually graduating early, so we wish her well in her future endeavors. And our senior, Sushi Bhakta. Sushi's our only graduating senior. She's been a student trainer here for all 4 years, and has been an incredible leader for our training program, been a great role model for our younger student trainers, and aspires to be a sports medicine physician one day, so her example will be greatly missed. And she gave great leadership to this whole group, and this group was the largest number of student trainers that we've ever had in our program. So in conclusion, we say thank you to these young men and women who did these things behind the scenes, our 2020 student athletic trainers. Our video crew, you know, if you know anything about our program, we got drones flying around the field all the time. If it's happening on the practice field, we're filming it. And if we're filming it, our players are going to watch it. And by watching it, they see mistakes they've made, they see the good things they make, and they're a little bit better next time they go out and practice. You know, we're a visual world now. Just telling somebody something is one thing, getting them to make the changes they need is another. So we place great value in what these young men and women do. Our senior that gave us the most contribution this year was Ryan Goff. Ryan showed up for every practice. He was very eager to learn about the technology piece, became very knowledgeable, gained a lot of experience in a short time, and he set the bar very high for others to follow. You know, Ryan didn't get to run out on that field. He didn't get interviewed after the games. He didn't appear on Rangers Network, but his contribution to what we did was very valuable and goes recognized by our players and coaches. So we thank Ryan for his contribution. Before we introduce you to our 2020 varsity football team, I'd like to take just a minute and allow us all to watch some of the memories of the season to kind of get us in the mood, so to speak. There'll be a short video highlight put on by Bo Wick and the Rangers Network, and let's watch and enjoy, and then we'll come back and talk about these players.
It's a night that Smithson Valley Rangers fans have been waiting for, with more questions answered. And safety precautions in place, Smithson Valley kicks off the 2020 campaign.
Turnover.
And I believe the Rangers did come away with it. Pressure coming, ball on the ground. Rangers are saying they have it. Do you have any indication by the referee? Yes, they do. It's Smithson Valley football. He's not dropping back, looking downfield. He's got a man all by his lonesome. And, of course, Zach McDonald.
Roll left, sets himself, throws it long, intended for Freeland, who comes up with a grab inside the 30. Did a great job of using his body, his big 6'4" frame.
Williams to the air, being harassed. There's
Turnover.
And the ball is out. And Smithson Valley has struck first. Williams to throw, pressured forward to stop, and the Rangers defense holds on Wagner's first third quarter possession.
Ball, there's a ball.
It's charged free. Rangers say they've got it. and the Rangers have recovered. Check it, Hoskins, he'll walk in for the touchdown. Williams, pressured, down he goes. We head into overtime here from Rutledge Stadium, Smithson Valley. Wagner deadlocked at 21. Hoser's kick puts the Rangers on top, 24-21. Butler charges through, and a walk-off win for Wagner, and a thriller in the 27-6A opener.
5 weeks into this goofy and crazy year of 2020, we have two teams looking for their first district win tonight, knowing the loser could be out of the district race already. Thought he almost called for a fair catch, but it's mishandled. The ball is loose, and Smithson Valley falls on it at the 30-yard line. Did he get the ball? The Rangers sure feel like he did, and that's an interception at the 45. It'll be Ranger ball.
Just vaults over the top of the receiver.
Here's a late blitzer. They put pressure. Trey Moore's got him and throws him down inside the 25 on 3rd and 4. A great sack. McCracken going right. Has a seam over the 10, over the goal line. Touchdown. The Rangers will improve to 3-1 overall and 1-1 in district play.
It's Thursday night football in the 27-6A district as the Smithson Valley Rangers host district newcomer Southside on a cool and crisp 65-degree night from Ranger Stadium. The run up the gut, breaking a tackle into the end zone. Justin Avery caps off the Rangers' opening drive as they march 70 yards with ease against Southside. Throws that behind the receiver, intercepted. Another pick for the Rangers defense. Avery to the outside. Avery is in for the second time. Mata off the play fake, taking his shot down the field. He's got a man, he's got a touchdown. 45 yards out, or 35 yards, I beg your pardon, and knocks it through. 6 made field goal this season. That was 1 yard shy of tying his season long for Austin Hoser. McCracken in for the touchdown, his second tonight, and the Rangers are pouring it on here at Ranger Stadium. Smithson Valley wins it 48-0, and that's going to wrap up our coverage of Thursday night 27-6A football. For the second week in a row, the lights are turned on a Thursday night at Ranger Stadium as Smithson Valley plays for a third straight win in 27-6A in a district matchup against the New Braunfels Unicorns. Taking a shot, Freeland's got a step, he's got a touchdown. Just his second touchdown pass of the season for Jalen Nutt. Driggers on 2nd and long. Boy, he's been pressured all night and throws a pick. Bowman has it inside of midfield, and he's inside the 45-yard line. And the Rangers' winning streak is up to 3 straight. Smithson Valley's defense continues to play lockdown football. Back-to-back shutouts for the Rangers defense as Smithson Valley takes a 21-0 win over New Braunfels.
Jet sweep. They'll hand it again. Here's a pass. They got a man wide open. And touchdown for the Rangers. Hoskins up the middle. Muscles his way. Muscles his way. Help, help, help into the end zone. Touchdown, Rangers. Takes it up the middle, breaks loose, still going into the end zone. There's the buzzer and the Rangers win it. 31-7, your final score.
Again, the winner stays in position for a 27-6A title, and this Friday afternoon game is underway.
Get ready.
And the Rangers have one game left to close out the regular season next week against the Judson Rockets. Two of the best programs in the area going head-to-head always makes for good football. Fielded at the 12. The turn man for the Rangers, Noah Flores across the 40. Flores down the sidelines. Forced out at the Judson 35. Blitz. Nuts, got to get rid of it. Does for Freeland. Turns, makes the catch, breaks away, and he's in. Touchdown, Smithson Valley on a 45-yard strike. Burrows keeps it himself again, fumbles the football, and is picked up by Smithson Valley's opportunistic defense. Running play, McCracken inside the 20. Unleash the Travis McCracken. Wow. He's short. The Rockets take over. So there is celebration for Judson for the moment. Burrows slings it deep. Pass is broken up. Noah Flores that time won the one-on-one battle against Davion Wilson, and the Rockets are down to the final 7 seconds with 98 yards of real estate in front of them. Steps up, heaves it as far as he can throw. That pass is intercepted. This game, this regular season is over, and for the Rangers with a bang.
Britton Moore tried to go to the left side, and he will not get anywhere. It'll be a tackle for a loss and a great defensive play by Malachi Lane, the team's leading tackler. Now as he stretches to the right side, looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Smithson Valley. And it'll be a play action. Pass is intercepted across the 30, the 20, taking it to the 10, looking for some blocks into the end zone. Touchdown, Smithson Valley. And just like that, David DeHoyas comes up with a huge pick six to turn the tide of this game. Play action. Moore hit as he throws down the middle of the field. It's intercepted by DeHoyas again at the 45. He wants to return it across midfield to the 45-40. Looking for space down the right sideline. He's pushed out of bounds just shy of the 30. He's going to hit as he throws, and it's intercepted again. Taken across midfield. This is Flores. Flores makes a defender miss at the 45 to the 40. Down the left sideline to the 30. Stays on his feet at the 20. He is brought down from behind. For isolated on the left side. The final play of the game. Moore will roll out to the left, and he throws it. It's completed at the 30, and then a quick pass off and brought down. The ball comes loose. Fumble trying to lateral it, and Smithson Valley wins the by-district matchup. Coming back from down 17 at the half. They pull away with the victory, 24-20.
That was neat to look at, brought back a lot of memories, and we thank Bo and Emily for putting all that together. And Dean Keller shoots highlights each and every week, shoots every game from the sidelines, and puts together weekly highlight tapes similar to what you just saw for our players to watch prior to the next game. He'll consolidate all those as well as put together a year-long highlight tape that'll be a memory, it'll be a treasure that every player and parent may want to have. Dean will have those available later in the spring of 2021. When those are ready for purchase, we'll get that out to all the parents and players, and if they wish to have one for themselves, there'll be an easy way to get that done. Thank you, Dean, in advance for doing that again for 20-plus years as you've done for the Ranger football program. As we introduce our 2020 varsity Ranger football team, I'd like to thank a few people who, like others that we've talked about earlier, helped make things go behind the scenes. Tiffany Brooks and Tony Dubose served as our varsity team's parent reps with all that goes into that. You know, organizing our photo day, organizing team dinners, organizing send-offs, and rearranging things with COVID, making sure our parents are communicated with and know what's going on inside the program. And we value what those two ladies did. We'll talk about them and give them a departing gift here in just a little while. And that's become a great tradition in our program, and these two ladies have furthered the tradition. We'd like to thank the Williams family, Margot and Bubba, for agreeing to host many of our team dinners. Again, had to do that a little bit different because of COVID this year, but that's just such a neat thing and such a unifying thing, and becomes a part of the fabric of our team. And we thank them for volunteering their home and their time and effort and keeping that tradition alive. Also want to thank Bo and Emily Wick and all of the Rangers networks for continuing to provide just fantastic coverage of our program. The UIL let us do some of the games live this year, so you weren't necessarily watching the games on Saturday and Sunday. You could watch them live on Friday and immediately there after the game. And we're the envy of everyone in the state. We don't have one camera and one guy at a mic. We've got network quality broadcast each and every week, and we don't ever want to take that for granted. We realize what we have is special, and it's special because of the work that Bo and Emily and Brant and all the guys at Ranger Network, and a big thank you to that. The 2020 team, the team was born last January in boot camp, and we, of course, like everybody, progressed from there and did another month and a half after that, and then we all went home for COVID, and then we wondered if this season was going to come to pass. And then the UIL allowed us then to begin practicing in June, which normally we couldn't do. So, this team basically had about a 7-month season as far as practices and games, and all the while wondering, are we going to be able to do this or not? So impressed with our team staying together, their work ethic, their resiliency, their determination to finish, which was our team motto. And I don't know that anyone anywhere could have done it any better than our players did. When you play at a school with a proud tradition that Smithson Valley has, tradition can be a burden, tradition can be a positive. And the burden is you want to live up to what your predecessors have done. But at the same time, that gives you confidence. It's been done before. When my brother played here, we got it done. When the kid down the street played here before, we got it done. And I think our players were confident in spite of the schedule that they played. So many great teams, particularly that 4-game stretch to end the season. back to back to back to back. Never flinched. Had some real white-knuckle, tense moments, and I'm proud that our players were in those moments and got to experience the highs of those moments. And, those are memories that they'll never forget. And, while they did that, they forged those relationships. They forged those bonds, that brotherhood that'll be with them always. And I'm extremely proud of this team. 43 of our players were on the academic all-district team. 10 of our seniors were on the academic all-state team. And, when you consider the difficulty of our schedule and the difficulty of class and remote learning and on campus, to be able to finagle all that and to juggle it and still have the kind of season we did is pretty amazing. And I thought our seniors gave great leadership. I thought our underclassmen fell in line with that. And, it was a bonded, cohesive group that we went through that 6-7 month period with, and we're extremely proud of that. So I'd like to begin now to introduce you to these young men who were made up that special team that was the 2020 Smithson Valley Rangers. So we're going to begin with our offensive linemen then. I'd like to begin the introductions now. Most fans that know anything about football know that your offense runs through your offensive line, whether it's the quarterback trying to throw or run, or running backs trying to run, or receivers trying to catch passes. It all starts up front. And it's a special group of young men who often go unrecognized, but performed in a big-time manner in 2020. So let's start introducing the offensive line. First is Ryan Banquet, a senior offensive tackle, 2-year letterman. Ryan was first-team All-District. He's a fierce competitor, like a lot of our senior leaders on our team this year were. He's a very talented player, played with great strength, and always took the worry out of mismatches against strong and fast defensive ends, knowing that Ryan had you back. He's a player that has an opportunity to play at the next level. We hope to see him do that. A great competitor, ready week in and week out to accept any challenge. He's selected to play in the San Antonio All-Star game, which is well-deserved. And we're going to miss him. Sorry to see him go. We're going to miss him. We'll always value the contribution he made to our team. Ryan Banquet. Braden Dornberg, a senior offensive tackle, 2-year letterman. He was academic all-district. He was second-team academic all-state, so obviously does some things well in the classroom as well as on the field. Another one of our senior linemen, another great competitor and a starter at the beginning of the year, suffered a broken leg in the second ball game and fought back, and toward the end of the year was able to return. Tough guy, and he's part of our late season run. Very athletic, had a lot of tenacity, which enabled him to play against the best the opponents had. Very natural an athlete. He understood the game and made it look easy out there. And we'll miss his commitment to Ranger football. That's Braden Dornberg. James Etheridge, senior, offensive guard, 1-year letterman. James, a very big, strong player who was part of our starting rotation on the offensive line. A little bit late coming to football. In his senior year, he really blossomed, and you could see the light bulb go off, and enabling him to be the player that he ended up becoming. Very physical, made him a force against some of the best players our district had to offer, and he learned the game, and that, with his hard work, improved his play each and every week. And our team and his teammates will miss him. James Etheridge. Alex Freeman, junior, played offensive guard and offensive tackle. First-year letter. He's academic all-district, a very versatile player. Filled the gaps throughout the year where we needed. We had a number of injuries in that unit, and Alex not only willingly but did a great job of alternating back and forth between guard and tackle. Made great progress throughout the season, and his understanding of the game improved also, which is allowing him to really be a good player. We're looking forward to him gaining strength and size in the offseason, and are excited that he'll be back next year. Alex Freeman. Nick Freeman, Alex's brother, also a junior, offensive tackle, also played some center for us, 1-year letterman, academic all-district. He was also honorable mention all-district on the field. He was given the responsibility, as we mentioned, of playing both tackle and center if needed, stepped up and played extremely well for us when we lost a couple of starters early in the season. He's committed to excellence in everything that he does, and he accelerated his learning curve, and he was a solid part of our front that propelled us into the playoffs. And we expect a lot out of Nick in the year ahead, and I'm very confident that he will live up to that. Nick Freeman. Nathan Muchigamba, senior, offensive guard, 3-year letterman, academic all-district, and was voted captain, one of our captains of the team. He's a cornerstone, has been a cornerstone of our offensive line for 3 years. He's a young man that had obvious physical attributes, but he also played with an effort level that was hard for our opponents to match. He's a natural leader. He made the O-line play as one. He set the tempo for our front. As many of you know, an eye injury and subsequent surgery cut his season short, but he's on the road to recovery, and hopefully he'll get an opportunity to play at the next level. But whether he does or whether he doesn't, we'll never forget the contribution he made 3 years of Ranger football. We wish him the best, Nathan Muchigamba. Britt Stoley, junior, center, 1-year letterman, academic all-district. He was also second-team all-district on the field. He's a very athletic and hard-nosed player and plays center with great effort and enthusiasm. Very knowledgeable player as well as physically talented. Has the responsibility of identifying fronts and making checks at the line of scrimmage. And all of that helps our team play and play well, in addition to how well he plays the center position. He'll do nothing but get better. We're expecting his leadership in the offseason, as well as his hard work will help prepare our next year's team for another long run. Britt Stoley. Skylar Soward, junior, offensive tackle, 1-year letterman, a very athletic and talented offensive tackle, has surprising strength and ability. Skylar was a very solid player for us throughout the year and proved to be very competitive against some of the district's best players. And he too has another year, will only get bigger, stronger, faster, better at his craft, and we look forward to what he will contribute in 2021. We're glad to have him back, Skylar Soward. Colton Thomason, sophomore, offensive guard, 2-year letterman, academic all-district, and he was also honorable mention all-district on the field. Colton is a big kid, as many of us know, but what you may not know is he works extremely hard throughout the summer and throughout the preseason for this year, and his hard work paid off, and he competed very well against some of the best our opponents had to put out there. He's very committed to improving, and that showed as the year progressed. He's a very natural leader in his own way. He loves the game, plays with great enthusiasm, and that, with his obvious physical upside, means that he'll be a force to come for 2 more years, and we're glad to have him around. Colton Thomason. Gerald Van Sickle, senior, offensive guard, 2-year letterman, academic all-district. He's honorable mention academic all-state, and he was also honorable mention all-district on the field. Gerald has embraced the Ranger way since the day he walked on campus, and he did anything he could to make our O-line better, himself better, and our team better. And he stepped up his game last spring, I thought, and in the summer in preparation to be a starter and can contribute and play at a high level. And he's got a never-back-down attitude, which was a big part of our offensive line and our team's success. And we wish him the best in the years ahead, and we'll miss him, Gerald Van Sickle. Tyler Stone, sophomore, offensive tackle, 1-year letterman. He was academic all-district. Tyler is a young player with the ability to become a very fine player for us in the future at any number of positions. A great football IQ for a young player, and at the sub-varsity level, he played both fullback and tight end and the O-line. When we moved him up to the varsity midseason, he gave us depth in the offensive line, and the sky's the limit for him as we move forward. Not sure exactly where he'll be yet, but we know we're glad we have him, and we expect him to have a great offseason and contribute in a big way next year. Tyler Stone. And that's our offensive line, and we thank these young men for their contributions for 2020 Ranger football. Our next group to be introduced are our 2020 linebackers, coached by Craig Westifer. I think everyone knows anything about the game of football knows your linebackers have to play well for your defense to play well, and we certainly had some kids play extremely well and lead us in a big-time way. So I want to introduce you to these young men now. Our first linebacker is Darlington Frash, senior, linebacker, of course, 4-year letterman, academic all-district, and he was first-team all-district on the field in a district with some outstanding linebackers. This was Darlington's 4th year on the varsity, and you know, as many of you know that followed his career, he had been bit by the injury bug that's cut several of his seasons short. Not this year. Stayed healthy, finished the year, started every game for us at middle linebacker, and had a big impact for us, both on defense and the special teams. He had 79 tackles on the year, 12 tackles for loss. He had 8 hurries, and he caused a fumble. But, you know, as big an impact as he had on the field, he had just as big an impact in the form of leadership. He made players around him better, and I think that's why he was voted captain and one of our captains. And if you want to win at a high level, playing the schedule that we play, you got to have guys like Darlington Frash. And we had him, and we did win, and we're going to certainly miss him. Darlington Frash. Next is Malachi Lane, junior, linebacker, 2-year letterman, academic all-district. He's second-team all-district on the field. I think a year ago we said if Malachi had a good offseason, he'll have a chance to be one of the premier players in the area, and he did that. He had a great offseason, and he was one of the premier players. He used his speed and athleticism and a knowledge of the game to lead our team in tackles. 88 tackles on the year, 19 tackles for loss. He had a sack, 7 hurries. He recovered 3 fumbles, caused 2 fumbles. And he works very hard to be the best he can be. He's a real student of the game, and all that coupled with his ability allows him to be a big impact on the field. You know, the good news is we have him for another year, and he'll be as good a player as there is anywhere in the state of Texas. Malachi Lane. Next, we have Wyatt Hanson, junior, linebacker, 1-year letterman, academic all-district. Wyatt provided very valuable depth for us at linebacker in his first year on the varsity, and he played a big role in our special teams. 21 tackles on the year. He also caused a fumble, has a great nose for the ball, works very hard to improve throughout the season, and his role increased because of it. And with the offseason and the preseason practices that are to come, he'll be a big part of our success next year. We're glad to have him back, Wyatt Hanson. Amari McKenzie, junior, linebacker, first year to letter. Amari moved in this summer, moved in from out of state, and he was a great addition to our team. He gained valuable experience in our program, kind of learned what the Ranger way was as he learned how our system worked. He improved a great deal throughout the year. He used his instincts to make 19 tackles, 1 sack, 1 hurry, and he caused a fumble on both defense and the special teams. He's very versatile. Could play a number of positions, and of course the exciting part is he's a junior, so we look forward to seeing what he can do next year. Amari McKenzie. Toby West, senior, linebacker, 2-year letterman, academic all-district, honorable mention all-district on the field. Toby worked very, very hard last offseason this summer and went from being a valuable backup last year to a starting outside linebacker this year. Had a big impact on special teams as well, and we used him in a number of different roles on the defensive side, and he was so versatile and he was so willing to do everything that was asked that he thrived in those roles. On the year, he contributed 44 tackles, 2 for loss, and he had a pass defense. And he's a big part of our success, and with his work ethic, we know he'll do great things as he moves on from Smithson Valley High School. We'll miss having Toby around. Toby West. Chase Barker, junior, linebacker, 1-year letterman, academic all-district. He gave us valuable depth at linebacker this year. His season was interrupted by an injury, an off-the-field injury, but he worked real hard to rehabilitate, and he became available again late in the year. It was a setback, but not a deal killer. He has a bright future. With a good offseason, he'll have an opportunity to be a big contributor next year. We're glad to have him back, Chase Barker. Colton Shepler, junior, linebacker, 1-year letterman, academic all-district. Colton earned his way on the varsity this year and played very well on defense and on several of our special teams. And Always did a great job of being prepared, being a student of the game. When his opportunities came, he made the most of them. In special teams, then at middle linebacker, he contributed 13 tackles on the year, had 1 for loss. He also had 1 quarterback hurry and 1 fumble recovery. He's got great instincts, another year of development. We're expecting big things from Colton next year and glad he'll be back. Colton Shepler. Morgan Wetz, senior, linebacker, 1-year letterman. Morgan provided valuable depth for us at linebacker, always looking for ways to contribute, and he did that both on and off the field. He learned several linebacker positions and played all of them when called upon. Had 6 tackles on the year, 1 for loss. And, you know, to have a good team, you need guys like Morgan, and we're glad he was part of Ranger football. Morgan Wetz. Congratulations to our 2020 linebackers. Appreciate all you done to make our team what it was. Our next groups to be introduced are our running backs, our fullbacks, and our tight ends. Those guys are coached by Coach Josh Samore and Coach Jeff Sheehan, and their groups work together a lot. Obviously, our running backs' primary role is to run the football. Our fullbacks' role is to provide blocking on and in the line of scrimmage and on the perimeter, and our tight ends wear a lot of hats. They play inside, they play outside, they catch passes, they block for receivers, and I thought our coaches and kids bonded together there, performed all those roles extremely well, and were a big part of our success this year. So let's begin those introductions now. We'll start with the running backs. Gabe Hoskins, senior, running back, 2-year letterman, second team all-district, an explosive runner. Gabe was also a vocal leader on this year's team, and his positivity was contagious. He not only performed on the field, but he made others around him better. On the season, he rushed for 440 yards and scored 7 touchdowns. Very smart player, and he was always able to pick up new concepts quickly. And his understanding of the game and coupled with his ability made his teammates better as well. So a big part of our run in 2020, and his work ethic and commitment will be missed. Gabe Hoskins. Justin Avery, senior, running back, 2-year letterman, academic all-district. Justin's desire to get better and contribute led him to being one of our hardest working players on the team. Very good all-around player. Had the knack of making tacklers miss. Did an excellent job blocking for other ball carriers. And he finished the year with 5 touchdowns. Those guys kind of all our running backs bonded together, and Justin was one of them and fed off of each other. And he filled some gaps that we needed on our team and became an important part of our backfield this year. He'll be missed. Justin Avery. Travis McCracken, Jr., running back, 1-year letterman. Learning the game allowed Travis to contribute this year and become, as the year progressed, more and more of a contributor and became a key piece of our offense and part of our special teams. A very physical runner, very contact-oriented runner. He knows how to finish runs, but he has a way of finishing and moving the pile forward, but also has speed to break away. Ended the year with nearly 400 yards rushing, scored 5 touchdowns, gave a nice spark to our offense this year. And, of course, being just a junior, we'll be excited to see what he can do next year. Travis McCracken. Next, we move to our fullbacks and our tight ends. Again, unsung roles oftentimes, but very important roles. And we'll start with Brandon Salvaggio, senior, fullback, 2-year letterman, academic all-district. He's first-team academic all-state. Honorable mention all-district on the field. He moved from the offensive line to the backfield this year and really left a mark. He quickly learned his new position and he excelled at it. He led the way for our running backs by his attention to detail and his physical play. And he also had a major impact on our special teams, including our punt team and our kickoff return and extra point teams. He's a leader on the field, in the locker room, and excelled in the classroom. His work ethic, leadership, and attitude will be hard to replace. Brandon Salvaggio. Caden Kirkpatrick, Jr., fullback, 1-year letterman, academic all-district. Caden worked extremely hard in his first year as a varsity player. On the year, he contributed solid depth at our fullback position and on our special teams. He's a team player, works hard to excel in whatever roles we give him. With his passion for the game and Ranger football's commitment to improvement in off-season, He'll be a big part of next year's success, and we're fortunate to have him back. Caden Kirkpatrick. Wyatt Hayden, senior, fullback, also punted for us, 2-year letterman. He was an honorable mention all-district player as a punter. His attitude and the knowledge of the game made it extremely enjoyable to coach him. He impacted our depth at multiple positions on offense, tight end, fullback, running back, but special teams is where he really shined, and averaged 38 yards a punt, and he also had a key role on our kickoff return units, which made a bunch of big plays for him. Very reliable, always did what was necessary to make himself and his teammates better. We're thankful for the impact he's had on our program. Wyatt Hayden. Next is Ty Dubose, senior, fullback, 2-year letterman, academic all-district, honorable mention all-district. Ty was a quiet leader at his position group. His attitude and knowledge of the position rubbed off on others. He's very coachable. You could count on him to get the job done, not most of the time, but all the time with maximum effort. Very fundamentally sound football player, a very physical presence for our offense. And he also had a major impact on our special teams, leading the way for some big kickoff returns. Very enjoyable to coach because of his attitude and knowledge of the game. It'll be very hard to replace Ty Dubose. Now we move to our tight ends. Dylan Domel, junior tight end, 1-year letterman, academic all-district. He was honorable mention all-district on the field. Dylan transitioned to the varsity this year and made vast improvement as a player from week to week. His effort and his productivity on the field earned him a starting position. He never looked back. He finished the year as our second leading receiver, averaging 13 yards per catch on 19 receptions. Got some all-district mention, as I said, and opponents had to have a plan for him, and that impacted our success other places as well. Also contributed on multiple special teams unit. We're excited to see his role grow and become the great player and great leader that he's capable of becoming. Look for him to have a major impact next year. Dylan Domel. Kenneth Zamora, senior, tight end, 1-year letterman. Very valuable backup player that prepared each week and every week to be his best. He had great accountability and a work ethic that allowed him to make the most of his playing time opportunities. Kenneth was very tough-minded. He embraced his role on our team, and he embodies what Ranger football is all about. We'll miss having him around next year. Kenneth Zamora. Will Ford, senior, tight end, 2-year letterman, academic all-district, also first-team all-district on the field. Will was a very talented physical player, had tremendous impact on the success of our team. He is a very smart player, like having a coach on the field out there, and he's a very quiet leader, worked hard, made others around him better. He averaged 19 yards a catch on the year. 2 of those went for touchdowns, and our opponents had to have a plan for him, and they honored him by selecting him first-team all-district. He played a key role on special teams unit as well. He'll be very hard to replace, but he will be greatly missed next year, Will Ford. So congratulations to our running backs, our fullbacks, and our tight end, our punter, for the contributions you made to 2020 Ranger football. The next units that we'll introduce are our defensive front, defensive tackles, defensive ends. You know it always starts up front on both sides of the ball. And the havoc that these guys created, the tackles and plays and sacks that they made, the turnovers they caused were a big part of the outstanding defense that we had in 2020. Well, let's introduce you to these young men now. We'll start with our defensive ends. Trey Moore, senior, defensive end, 3-year letterman, academic all-district, academic all-state honorable mention. On the field, he was a District 27 6A Defensive Player of the Year. Also first team on the All-San Antonio team, and he was also voted captain by his teammates, so it wasn't just about what was going on the field. Trey's a 3-year returning letterman, made the big impact on the field as well as on special teams. For the year, from his defensive end spot, he had 70 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 16 hurries, recovered 2 fumbles, caused 3 fumbles, batted 4 balls down, and he blocked 2 field goals. Those are statistics but the other impact that he had is every opponent had to come up with a plan to stop him, which made it easier for other players to function. They come up with a plan to stop him, but those plans rarely worked. Perhaps his biggest contribution came in the form of leadership. He was a great player, but he's also among our hardest workers, and that made everybody around him better. If you want to have a great team, you need players like Trey Moore, and we're going to miss him next year. Trey Moore. Brock Whitaker, Jr., defensive end, one-year letterman. Brock's a great young man. He does everything we ask him to do. He made 3 tackles and 1 sack this year as a junior. Helped us getting better every day at defensive end and also even on the scout team. He's an example of what players here at Smithson Valley do to make their current team better and to prepare for their future down the road. He's a fine young man. We're glad he's back next year and look forward to what he'll do in 2021. Brock Whitaker. Next is Cole Douglas, Jr., defensive end, one-year letterman, academic all-district. Cole gave us valuable depth this year as a defensive end, and he also contributed on special teams. On the field, he had 8 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. He's a great program guy. Shows up every day ready to work and do what it takes to help our team and help himself improve. He's concerned about our team. He does things to help our team get better. He's doing things to prepare himself for the future, which he has in 2021, and we're excited to see what he'll do next season. Cole Douglas. Joe Van Pelt, senior, defensive end, 2-year letterman, academic all-district, academic all-state, first team. Gave us depth at defensive end, also contributed in the kicking game. On the field, he had 9 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. He caused a fumble, had 2 sacks. A great team guy, team-oriented guy, always works hard. He's ready to do what you ask him to do, and his attitude was always good, and he was a pleasure to work with. Found ways to contribute. We miss having Joe here because he's the kind of guy that becomes the backbone of your team and helps you win and be successful. So we're proud of what he's accomplished and wish him well moving forward. Joe Van Pelt. Gavin Woods, sophomore, defensive end, 1-year letterman, academic all-district. On the field, he was second team all-district. 7 solo tackles, 39 total tackles. He also had 8 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 5 quarterback hurries, 2 fumble recoveries, and he caused 1 fumble. Doing all this as a young sophomore. Again, every opponent had to have a plan for him as well as Trey on the other side. He's a good, talented football player, but he's also a very smart player who uses great technique to put himself in position to make plays. And we're excited about his playmaking ability and look forward to seeing him grow for the next 2 seasons for Smithson Valley. Gavin Woods. Next are our defensive tackles, our inside players. Start with Luke Seminaro, senior, defensive tackle. Luke was a 3-year letterman, academic all-district. He's second team all-district on the field. Luke, from his inside position, had 38 total tackles on the year, 4 tackles for loss. He had 4 sacks and 2 hurries, and provided great leadership for our interior defensive line. His ability to play the game was actually surpassed by his coachability and his devotion to the team. And he's the embodiment of what it means to play Ranger football. Talented player who made the most of his talent and made others around him better. His type of play and leadership will be sorely missed. Luke Seminaro. Diego Hamilton, defensive tackle, junior, 2-year letterman. Diego finished junior year with 17 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 hurries, and he blocked a field goal. He's a multi-talented player. We move him around. He's played several positions. He's got a great motor. He plays hard all the time. His level of effort is kind of a hallmark for our program, but also what you think about when you think of Diego. And because of that, we're really excited about watching him this offseason and summer and look forward to being a leading force on our defense next season. Diego Hamilton. Next is Cale Williams, sophomore, defensive tackle, 1-year letterman. He was academic all-district. Cale was new to the varsity as a sophomore, of course, playing in the land of the Giants with our defensive line. It was a learning curve he had to get through, but he finished the season with 11 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and he had 1 QB hurry. He too has a great motor, has good athleticism, and great positive attitude, and has a smile on his face, and he's ready to embrace whatever challenge we put in front of him. He learned a lot this year and improved his craft, and we look forward to watching him being a big part of the Ranger defense for the next 2 years. Kel Williams. Next is Joel Herring, senior defensive tackle, 2-year letterman, honorable mention All-District on the field. He's a very talented player, very versatile player. He had some injuries a year ago, and that left some questions in his mind and our mind as to whether he could recover and be the player that his athleticism promised that he could be. Turned out he did get well, and he worked very, very hard and became a real force for us up front. He finished 2020 season with 20 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and 2 hurries, and played with a relentless effort level and had a great attitude, and we're proud that he had the season that we knew he could, and he was able to do that by putting those injuries to bed. Proud of him, and we'll miss him, Joel Herring. Next is Jordan Thompson, senior defensive tackle, 1-year letterman. Jordan began his football career a little late with us, but has made amazing progress at one of the toughest positions on the field to do that at. Great attitude, a real tireless work ethic, and he gave us a viable option at a position that was deep with talent. And we wish we could redshirt him. He would be a prime candidate for that because he really made a lot of improvement. But he is a senior and he's moving on, but his selflessness and his team-first attitude is appreciated, and we wish him well as he moves forward. He'll be missed. Jordan Thompson. And next is Roman Rodolfo, senior defensive tackle, 1-year letterman. Roman was new to our program on the varsity and performed his duty on a daily basis in a very business-like manner. If you know anything about him, he's a quiet kid, but he practiced extremely hard and played extremely hard, and he learned both positions inside and was ready to go at a moment's notice. And he finished what he started, and his perseverance that he showed in our program will pay dividends in whatever he chooses to do next as he moves forward. We appreciate his dedication to Ranger football. Roman Rodolfo. And those are our defensive tackles and defensive ends. Thank you guys for your contributions. Couldn't have done it without you. The next groups that we'll introduce are quarterbacks, our kicker, and our wide receivers. Again, anybody knows anything about football, you know how valuable these guys are, and they work together a lot, particularly our quarterbacks and receivers, and they spend most of their practice day together and become very intertwined. But these guys stepped up in a big way this year. Let me introduce you to them now. We'll start with our quarterbacks. Our first is Jacob Cernohouse, senior quarterback, 2-year letterman. In his second year on varsity, Jacob proved that he can play with the best of them. He was always prepared, stepped in a couple of tense moments for us this year and produced. He completed 6 passes for 50 yards, also threw a touchdown. Injury cut his season short, but we're blessed to have him in our program, and we can appreciate all that he contributed, and we'll miss him. Jacob Cernohouse. Next is Derek Mata, a junior quarterback, 1-year letterman, academic all-district. Derek transitioned from being on a JV a year ago to lettering in his first year on varsity. Made great strides in improvement as the year went on. He completed 8 passes for 93 yards and a touchdown. Contributed on our special teams, made our protection calls on the punt team, did our holding for us on extra points and field goals. And, he'll continue to improve this offseason, and we look forward to his senior year. We're glad that we'll have him back. Derek Mata. Next is Jalen Nutt, senior quarterback, 3-year letterman, second team all-district, also voted as one of our captains by his peers. After starting on defense for 2 years, Jalen was asked in the offseason to move over to offense and play quarterback. Not only did he make this transition without batting an eye, he proved to be one of the top offensive players in the area. Accounted for over 1,800 yards of offense, 17 touchdowns, but more importantly, provided leadership and stability for our team, and he made the guys around him play better, and he made them better. And he's been invited to play in the San Antonio All-Star game later this month, and we're proud of that. And his unselfishness and his leadership qualities they were very critical to our team's success this year, and we look forward to watching Jalen and what he does in the future. Jalen Nutt. Austin Hosier, senior, place kicker, 1-year letterman, academic all-district, and he's also first-team all-district as a kicker. His first year on the varsity, Austin was up to the challenge. We've had a pretty good run of kickers here, and there was some scuttlebutt that would we be as good at that position, and I think Austin answered that in a big-time way. He's an incredibly hard worker. He spends a lot of time perfecting his craft, very dedicated to our team. He was 37 out of 38 on extra points and 11 out of 13 on field goals, setting a school record. So with a long kick of 48 yards. So I think Austin more than answered those questions. We look forward to watching him at the next level. Looks like he'll get an opportunity to do that. We loved having him on the team, and he'll no doubt be missed. But he set a standard for future kickers to live up to. Austin Hosier. Moving to our wide receivers. Our first receiver is Maverick Freeland, senior, wide receiver, 2-year letterman. He was first-team all-district. Maverick definitely had a breakout year. He from the spectacular catches to blocking on defensive backs, he ended up being a complete receiver. He a little wondering what his role may or may not be as the season began, and he embraced the opportunities that he had, and his big play capability made him a threat against any secondary he went to. And he could beat you downfield or he could beat you in the quick game. And he was the leading receiver for our team at 26 catches, 395 yards. This resulted in him being a first-team all-district pick. And he understood the game and how it should be played, and he really stepped up in a big-time way. We're proud and blessed to have had him as part of our team. Maverick Freeland. Next is Zach McDonald, a junior wide receiver, 1-year letterman, academic all-district, also honorable mention all-district. Zach has a quiet demeanor, but don't mistake that. He's a very mentally tough kid, and his football IQ is very high, and that makes him very versatile. He can play any receiver position, and sometimes we asked him to. And his willingness to be a team player, coupled with his ability, his reliability and dependability, made him a threat to any secondary. He had 16 catches for 295 yards this year and a touchdown, and made him the second leading receiver on the team. And he made honorable mention all-district as we mentioned, and we'll be very glad to have him back in 2021. Next is Will Strachan, senior, wide receiver, 2-year letterman, academic all-district, academic all-state honorable mention, and honorable mention all-district on the field. He's the epitome of what a team first means. He transitioned from being a quarterback to a wide receiver, took that as a challenge and proved that he was all in. Then he had to overcome an early preseason injury, kind of a freak injury, but he didn't quit. He came back ahead of time and immediately was thrown in the fire and immediately contributed. Very tough, a strong mental tenacity, and very dedicated to the game. Worked his way back into the starting lineup, and those high expectations that we had for him were more than met. And we're honored and proud to have had him on our team, Will Strachan. Next is Garrett Brooks, senior, wide receiver, fullback, punter, a little bit of everything. 3-year letterman, academic all-district, honorable mention on the academic all-state team. When you start talking about leadership, his leadership was unquestioned and it was outstanding. Going from being one of our premier defensive players as a junior to move over to offense in a position he'd never played at and then have an off-season cut short, that's quite a challenge. Well, he stepped up to the challenge and was performing at an extremely high level when in the second ball game of the year he suffered an injury that cut his season short. That still didn't stop him. He kept being around our team. He kept being at practices and meetings. He kept leading. He kept motivating. He kept supporting, and became a spokesperson in the face of our football team. And didn't have to do that, but he wanted to do that, and our team was better for it. And we're proud of him. It's an honor to have coached him, and we look forward to watching him as he moves on. Garrett Brooks. Next is Garrison Eggleston, junior, wide receiver, 1-year letterman, Garrison is another position change guy. He transitioned from cornerback to receiver, and that helped him, I think. That helped him understand when he moved to offense what's going on. And at the receiver position, we asked him to move around and play in several different spots, but he proved time and time again that he was more than up to the challenge. And he gained experience as the year went on, had some catches, had some runs, played on the special teams and did a great job for us there. And of course, he's got another year, and he's, with the attitude and the work ethic that he has, we know he's going to have a great contribution in 2021. Garrison Eggleston. Next is Kyler Clark, sophomore, wide receiver, one-year letterman. He brings a little different element to the receiver corps. He has great speed, great ability to make people miss, has a tremendous amount of natural football ability, and that was very evident early in the season, whether it's in practice or in a game. And unfortunately, in the first game of the year, he made a cut with no one around him and suffered a knee injury that ended his season. But in a short period of time, we could see what a special talent that Kyler is, and the future's bright for him as he rehabs, and we're excited to have him back for the next 2 years, Kyler Clark. Next is Chase Sineley, sophomore, wide receiver quarterback, one-year letterman, academic all-district. Chase was a great addition to our football team. As a sophomore, we used him in a bunch of roles at receiver, very versatile, and then we began to transition him back to quarterback, which is kind of his home position, and he was able to do that and do it well. He always wanted to do things right, and he always made plays on the things that we had him do. Made some big plays for us in crucial situations, and as he has 2 more years at one or all those positions, we know he's going to bring that same tenacity to our team the next 2 years, and he's a fine football player, and I think we'll see that over the next 2 years. We're glad he'll be back. Chase Sineley. Next is Ryan Hakes, a senior, wide receiver, and also a deep snapper on punts and extra points. 2-year letterman, academic all-district, honorable mention on the academic all-state team. And Ryan wore a lot of hats for us this football season. As I mentioned, he did as fine a job as we've ever had, deep snapping on our punts and on our extra point field goals, but he also got reps and playing time at our X receiver, our Y receiver, our Z receiver, and he even played some tight end at times. And because of his knowledge of the game and his ability, he was always able to do that. And very disciplined, excelled on the field, also in the classroom. Just a tremendous program guy, big guy, it'll be a guy that we'll have a hard time replacing, but we're proud of his contributions here with Ryan Hakes. And those are our quarterbacks, our kickers, and our wide receivers. Congratulations, men, on your years individually and for your contributions to our team. The final group of introductions are our secondary, coached by Coach Doug Olbert, with our safeties, and Coach Lane Bowman with our cornerbacks. Our back-end guys, of course, are always out there. They're always having to cover great receivers in space. Their big plays are magnified, but so are their mistakes. And it takes a special group of young men to play in those positions, and we want to introduce them now. We'll start with our cornerbacks. Andrew Montalvo, junior, cornerback, 1-year letterman, academic all-district, honorable mention all-district on the field. Andrew's a very talented player, but gets the most out of his ability. Very hard-working. He's fun to coach. He loves being out there, and he contributed in a big-time way as a junior. 26 total tackles, 4 solo tackles, 20 assists, and 1 tackle for loss. Being a junior, he has a bright future ahead of him, and his work ethic and advancements in the offseason will give him an opportunity to have a great season in 2021. Andrew Montalvo. Lance Zuber, junior, cornerback, 1-year letterman, academic all-district. Lance is another great young man, does everything we ask of him. He gets better every day, practices well, and uses his ability to continue to improve. He's an example of a Smithson Valley player who, what do you need me to do to help us win? Because of that and his work ethic and being a junior, we look forward to having him back for 1 more year and look forward to his contributions in 2021. Lance Zuber. Next is Braden Bafidis, sophomore, cornerback, 1-year letterman, academic all-district. one of our talented sophomores that we brought up to the varsity. Pleasure to be around. Smile, always got a smile on his face, and always working extremely hard, and becoming a player who finds ways to contribute in a lot of areas, at cornerback, at kick returner, covering kicks. You know, as a sophomore, just what roles can I fill to help this team win? On the year, he had 6 tackles, 1 solo, and 5 assists. And, of course, has a bright future for him, and he's so versatile. No telling where he'll end up or where he'll play, but wherever it is, he'll do a great job with it, and he'll help the Rangers win. Braden Bafetas. Noah Flores, senior, cornerback, 2-year letterman, academic all-district, and honorable mention all-district on the field. Noah's another great young man. It's a pleasure to work with. He made our team better. He was as an explosive player as we had on our team. He had the potential to change a game, whether at cornerback with big interceptions or broken up passes, or on kick returns or punt returns. In all of those areas, he had the ability to change the game. He finished the year with 25 total tackles, 11 solos, 13 assists, 1 tackle for loss, 4 passes batted down, and he had 4 interceptions. He's an impact player who'll be hard to replace, but we appreciate all that he has done for us. Noah Flores. Next is Stratton Davis, junior, cornerback, 1-year letterman, academic, all-district. Stratton's a great young man, does everything we ask of him. This year we asked him to play corner, and he did so, made 3 tackles for the Rangers, both on defense and at times on special teams. What can I do for us on scout team? Just a great example of what players are willing to do to help us win. And he is a junior, has a great work ethic, and he's a great young man, so we're excited to have him back for another year. Stratton Davis. Next is Drew Swain, senior, cornerback, 1-year letterman, academic, all-district. Drew's another fine example of what we ask our players to do. Had 1 tackle on the year, but he helped us get better every day by working hard at corner and being a great team player. He's a high-character guy, willing to do whatever he needed to do to help us win, and we'll miss having him around, but wish him well moving forward. Drew Swain. Next is Cooper Douglas, senior, cornerback, 2-year letterman, academic, all-district. And on the academic all-state team, he was named to the elite team, which is the highest honor that there is. Cooper's a great young man. What do I need to do? Was an impact player for us as a junior at wide receiver and on the special teams, and then prior to his senior year, we asked him to move to defense. And he did it without question, and he excelled. And, of course, was set back in the 3rd ball game with an injury that took him off the field for quite a bit of time, and was able to get back on the field and impact our team in a great way toward the end of the season. Playing cornerback, running down on kickoffs, whatever we asked him to do, he not only did it, but he excelled at it. And he did get healthy enough, as I said, to come back. He ended up with 12 total tackles, 6 solos, 5 assists, 1 tackle for loss, and he broke up 1 pass. There's no question those numbers would be much higher and off the chart if he's able to play all year, but his tenacity and willingness to do what it took to get back and help us win, and his quiet leadership and demeanor meant so much to our program, and we'll miss him. Cooper Douglas. Now we move to our safeties. We'll start with Blake Bowman, senior, strong safety, 2-year letterman, academic all-district, 1st team all-district on the field. He's a talented player, but he also got the most out of his ability. He put his hard hat on and went to work every day, and we asked him to do a lot of things. He played multiple roles, played strong safety, played the nickel safety. He returned punts, he blocked kicks, he covered on punts and kickoffs. His ability to help us in all those different ways allowed us to do so many different things and be successful. For the year, he had 61 tackles, 8 for loss, and broke up several passes, and he intercepted 3 passes, also recovered a fumble. He's a pleasure to coach, pleasure to be around, and we'll certainly miss him. Blake Bowman. Next is Jack Mills, senior, strong safety, 1-year letterman, academic all-district, and he was honorable mention academic all-state. Jack is a great young man. what do I need to do, Coach, and I'll do it. He helped us get better every day with his work ethic and his desire to help the team. And he's an example of a team player that we've made a living on winning games with at Smithson Valley throughout our time here. And Jack embodies that. Helped us on the special teams as well, and we're certainly going to miss having him around. Jack Mills. Caden Baumgartner, junior, free safety, one-year letterman. Gave us valuable depth at free safety this year. As the year went on, he worked hard and continued to improve himself and further his role. He is constantly improving. He'll be a valuable asset for us next year. On the season this year, he had 5 tackles total. And he's a good player, good young man, got a great work ethic, got an off season. We'll see where that takes us next year in 2021. Caden Baumgartner. Next is David De Hoyos, sophomore. Free safety, one-year letterman, honorable mention, all district on the field. Another one of the many sophomores we had up, and none couldn't play a bigger role than David. Missed a couple of games with a quarantine situation, but before and after that, he played extremely well at a high level in his first year on the varsity. Got a good work ethic and a commitment to improving, which is unusual for talented players. Played several special teams as well as starting at free safety. On the year, he had 44 tackles, broke up several passes, 4 interceptions. One of those returned for a touchdown and also recovered a fumble. Multi-sport athlete, also excels in baseball. Looking forward to watching that this spring. And, of course, obviously excited about having him back for 2 more years where he could be one of the best players ever play that position. David De Hoyos. Next is Tanner Donovan. Junior, strong safety, also a nickel safety. One-year letterman, academic all-district as a junior. Gave us great depth at both strong safety and the nickel, as I mentioned, and played quite a bit in our special teams. Very hard worker, eager to improve. He made the most of his opportunities this year with 7 tackles. And the work ethic that he has and the desire to improve, he'll have even a bigger impact on our team in 2021. So we're glad that he'll be back with us. Tanner Donovan. Next is Camden Egley, junior, free safety, 2-year letterman, honorable mention all district on the field. Second year on the varsity, Cameron is a real hard worker, and he makes folks, he has that ability to make others around them work hard as well. Made a big impact for a junior. Great at getting the job done, getting us into the right coverage and in position to make plays that we needed to get made. Also contributed well on several special teams. By playing safety and on special teams, he recorded 40 tackles, broke up several passes, and we're excited about what he can do next year and having him back for 1 more year. Camden Egley. Cade Hansen, junior, free safety, 1-year letterman, academic all-district. First year to be on varsity, Cade provided depth for us at free safety. Very team-oriented player, and always looking to what can he do to contribute to the success of our team. Not only played safety, but did a great job for us on the special teams as well. And when you got players like him on your team, you can always play above yourself. And I think Cade will not only help us do that in 2020, but we look forward to watching him do it again in 2021. Cade Hansen. Those are our secondary players, our corners and our safeties. We appreciate all that they did for Ranger football and look forward to having those underclassmen back next year. Each year as our season winds down, one of the things we ask our team to do is vote on captains. It's a postseason honor bestowed on seniors who, in the opinion of the rest of the team, best reflected leadership both on the field and off the field and inspired others to play their absolute best. The 2020 team was loaded with great senior leadership. Many came from many parts, from both sides of the ball and from all different ability levels. However, 4 young men garnered the most votes, and I'd like to introduce these 4 men to you now, who will be forever known as our 2020 Ranger football captains. On my left, or on your left, is Darlington Frash, senior linebacker. Next to Darlington is Nathan Muchigamba, senior offensive lineman. Next to Nathan, we have Trey Moore, senior defensive end. And on the far side, we have a senior Jalen Nutt, who was our quarterback. Gentlemen, I want to congratulate you on the honor of being selected a team captain. It is something you'll never forget, and I know your teammates obviously think a lot of you. Your coaching staff does too. So congratulations on this honor. Now I think a few of our players are going to say a few words.
I wanted to talk about the 4 words that describe this football team. Of course, I'm sure they're words you all have heard of. They are written along our walls, and you see them every day as you come into this room. Those words are class, discipline, effort, and tradition. You all might know what they mean, but I want to say what I think they mean to me and why I believe they are valuable, not only in the game of football, but in life. First is class. Class to me is how you show up, how you represent yourself. As a team, we are taught to look a certain way. No facial hair, your hair has to be cut a certain length, and you better make sure your cleats are black on game day. And when you walk through the halls and when you step off the bus and onto the field, you're not only representing yourself, you're representing us as one. And when you come off the field, your opponent and fans should know you played with class, whether you win or fall short. Whether it's looking a certain way or doing what you say you are going to do, you should continue to show class in life after football. Second is discipline. Discipline to me is doing the little things just right. Waking up at 5:45 every morning, getting locked in when your coach walks into the room, and making the smart choices when under pressure. In life, discipline will be reflected in your success and your achievements. Third is effort. Effort to me is doing everything to the best of your ability. Every rep in the weight room, every snap on the football field, and every assignment in the classroom. Exemplifying effort sets you apart from those who do the minimum. Fourth and last is tradition. Tradition to me is representing those who have come before you, wearing the white stripe on your helmet, celebrating in the end zone together, and achieving the perfect day. And last but not least, always running all the way down to the field house before every practice. In life, it's about representing those before you and setting the standard for the future generations to come. These 4 words aren't just words on the wall. They are not only representations of us as football players, but they represent us as men as we move forward in our lives. To my teammates, past and present, you will all forever be my brothers.
There's truly nothing like Smithson Valley football. Now, many teams say this, but until you have strapped up the helmet with the stripe down the middle, you won't understand how amazing it really is. Now, I personally spent 7 years in this program, and through all those years, it is not only shaping you as a ball player, but as a man as well. When you buy into this program, it buys back into you. The coaching staff is unlike any in all of high school football. They demand the best from us as we do them. Obviously, as we should know by now, this starts, for me at least, in boot camp. As Coach Hill says, boot camp filters out our team. It sharpens you if you want to be part of something special, and quite frankly, if you don't, you just won't make it. And from then, it's all about unity. Unity. That word to me is what is so special about the team of 2020. Now, of course, every team is special, but this one truly was like no other team I've been a part of. This team was a brotherhood, a family. We were playing every snap for each other. Now, that right there is when you know you have something. Every team wants that in their players, but rarely does it happen because we are naturally born selfish. But this team had goals and expectations, and everyone had a role in accomplishing these achievements. No one treated anyone like they were under them. The leaders on this team wanted to build relationships with the younger guys on the team, and the younger guys on the team wanted to be led. Because of this, we were able to do things no one said we could. We all heard what they were saying, as Coach Hill likes to put it. We won games we weren't supposed to win. We did things we weren't supposed to do, and we went places we weren't supposed to go. I know my time here is done, along with my fellow seniors, but I'm glad to have finished my high school career with this group of guys. There's not another team I would have wanted to do so with. I'll forever cherish these moments of the last season and the rest of my time I spent as a Smithson Valley football player. Thank you to the coaches, the staff, and the fans for allowing us to do what we love. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Those are great words, and representing all 4 of our captains, congratulations again for being selected. I think when you hear words like that, you understand why this team was truly special. It's a remarkable group of young men, made so by the character and the makeup of our players and the leadership that these and other seniors provided. I congratulate you again, and I ask you to stay here with me on stage as we make one final presentation before we close the evening. Ranger football only gives one individual award. It's an award established years before I got here. We don't really give an MVP. We don't, we give Fighting Heart Award, all the different awards that you can give. But we've always been a team, and we've never focused a whole lot on the individual. But the Jim Worthy Award is different. It was established years ago, and I'll read the criterion prior to awarding this plaque to our winner. The Jim Worthy Award is a memorial award established in honor of a former Ranger football player who passed on the football field. The award annually goes to a senior player who best meets the following criterion. He has great attitude and character, maximizes his talent to the fullest, plays with class, is extremely loyal to the Ranger football program, is dependable and honest, and plays with great effort. When you have a team like ours in 2020, we have a lot of players who fit that description. Some standing behind me now and others who aren't in this room at the time, but you could probably pick any number of those names as the winner of this award, and no one would question that he's deserving. However, that's not how it's done. The coaching staff meets, discusses many candidates, and then each coach votes, and we did so and selected this year's winner. When you play the caliber of competition that we had to play this year, it takes special men to step to the plate. This year's winner, as selected by our coaches, is a young man. He's been around Ranger football for his entire life. Years ago, he's a little ball boy running up and down the sidelines. And then he came up through our system, and then he worked extremely hard for the opportunity to put on that blue helmet and run on the field with his brothers. He was indeed one of our more talented players, but his playing ability was not his best quality. Rather, he was best known for his love of the game, his commitment to the program, and to his coaches and to his teammates. His leadership and drive helped define our team. For that commitment, we now recognize and honor this year's Jim Worthy Award winner. That is Blake Bowman. Congratulations, my man. No one fits that description that I gave more than you. So congratulations, and I'm going to let you keep that and let you stand with our players in the back as I close the evening. Congrats again. I'd like to thank you all for joining us tonight. It's an unusual year, as we know, and is, of course, an unusual banquet given to you virtually, but we wanted to do something special for this group of special young men. And I'd like to thank the parents for entrusting your young men with us for the last 5 to 7 months, and trusting us to push them where they really wanted to go, but perhaps need nudging to do. One more time, I salute all of our players. We had a lot of individual accolades this year, and deservedly so. But for our team, it was just a tremendous year. And as I said earlier, we didn't know if we were going to get it off the ground, but we did. And we persevered, and we had some smashing successes. We look forward to a successful 2021 season. Expectations are high. Our players already have the wheels in motion getting ready to play 2021. But if they have the success that they're after, and there's every reason to believe they will, if they do, they'll owe a great debt to the 2020 Ranger football team for the standard that they set. So thank you for being with us today, and go Rangers.